There are only two things that I have not been able to find: an acceptable vegan option at any restaurant in the Midwest, and a looper pedal that does exactly what I want it to do. So I believe the second one there has actually finally been solved by the Pigtronix Infinity 3. I've been rocking a Pigtronix looper since forever. The first one I have is a little bit tricky for what I want it to do. So Sweetwater was nice enough to send me one of these. I get all my gear from Sweetwater. They help sponsor this video. So aside from it being sponsored, take my word for it. This is exactly what I want to show you, because as like a songwriter first and a looper second, this is exactly what I've always wanted. I thought the Boss RC505 was going to fix this, but again, I'm just going to jump right into it. So we have 3 buttons and then all these like little like red and green ones in the middle. They become super important. So first of all, it works just like a regular looper, right? If we hit loop 1, it'll start playing. Now I've got that in a loop, right? We can play over that. Alright, so again, that's just how a basic looper works. Press and hold stop, and that'll erase that loop. Now, the thing that I love more than anything is when you have this selected, and again, just pressing this once toggles the modes. When it's green, it means it's on the bottom, series, okay? Setting these loops up in series is the most important function of this thing. Other loopers can do this, but not as easily. You can go menu diving, you could use external foot switches to get a looper to do this, but this is the first looper pedal that I've seen that we can actually play a song through like it's meant to be played, like something I would do live. That's why I'm using an acoustic guitar to demonstrate this, because I think there's like a lot of live capabilities for this as like a performing singer-songwriter, okay? So we can play the first part of a song on loop 1, just like I did there. Now, a lot of times, the second part of a song, or like a chorus or a pre-chorus, is going to be a different length. So we have this sync one set to off. So these loops are working independently of each other. As a guitar player, I have total control over it. I don't need to use a metronome or anything. So let's do something, let's do one of my originals. Let's do Juliana for the 100th time, because not enough of you are streaming it. So the first part is just straight up. It's a 4-chord loop. Now I press that loop 2 button, so I'm going right into the second part, just as I would do if I was playing a song. And then when I hit this, second loop to go right into the next part. So I can go back and forth between those parts. As you saw, you can just kind of like in real time rock different parts of a song, all right? That's so awesome to do. I'm still kind of getting the hang of it. You saw me kind of like jump into that solo part, coming in a little hot. But like I said, for just typical A-B part songs, this is the absolute best thing that you could ever do, right? I'm just having this go out into my Fishman Loudbox Performer. And then that's going direct in, so you can kind of hear a little bit of both of it. But yeah, it sounds great. Through an acoustic guitar, all of this stuff applies to an electric. And like I said, it's just so cool being able to kind of like just do different things on the fly right there and jump right into it. You don't have to worry about double tapping anything. You don't have to close the loop and start another one. Like I said, the menu diving is just perfect. The The setup of this is awesome. You can get an external foot switch if you want to do like undo features and stuff like that a little bit easier, but hey, just practice it. Like I said, it's just so cool that you can kind of have just like different parts of a song just straight into it, like part one. And then start loop 2. Back on part 1. And then when I go to the next part, just hit the button. It's so cool. This is exactly what I've been looking for from a looper pedal since basically forever, right? Again, the Boss RC505 is one that like a lot of professional loopers use. That's really cool as far as like building loops, but you have to use your hands, right? And unless you get like one of the huge foot switches, it's really kind of difficult to do in-series looping instead of parallel looping with a stop feature. So again, I love the layout of these. And again, there's 2 inputs. So I also have the Roland SPDSX kind of looped into the other thing if I wanted to do like a percussion track. Now again, as primarily a guitar player, I'm okay with setting the tempo with my playing, right? So what I mean by that is I can make a loop and then I'll build the percussion into it. So like a... I'm trusting that my timing is okay on this one, right? Alright, so I'm assuming that's in time. Now I can add I can overdub whenever. I didn't time that out perfectly, but you get the idea, right? You can add the percussion on top of it. You can actually set these as different tracks in a loop. So, for example, if I didn't want them to work in series as different parts of a song, I can just hold that and erase it. And I can hit that right there, and then that switches to parallel mode, okay? And then, if I wanted to, I could sync it. So if I put the sync on, like there, if I do the exact same thing, like so now I have that loop. If I wanted to start loop 2 with that, you can see that it closed at the end of that loop. So again, it can work more as a traditional thing if you want to sync your loops up, because then you know that it'll probably be in perfect timing, right? I guess the downside of it, if you play your parts of a song at a different tempo and they aren't synced and they're in series, then you might have some tempo issues, but that's just something you can practice with, which I think is like the absolute best thing to do anyway, right? Another cool thing that I like to do is to maybe like test myself out, like lead wise. Like maybe I'll have like 2 totally different parts on a loop, and I can have them in series. So like let's say maybe I want to do something in the key of C on loop 1, right? So I could like just do something C major-ish in loop 1. And then loop 2 will be something different, a different key, G minor. Alright, so loop 1 is C major. That's in G minor, right? Back to C. Okay, so you can kind of like challenge yourself in a fun way by like setting loop 1 up to be one key and loop 2 up to be a different key. And again, the responsiveness is just is the best, right? The reason that I bought the first Pigtronix Infinity way back in the day is just because it sounded better. It had the best fidelity of any looper on the market. I remember that was about the time where it was like, I think the Boss RC500 was out, and that had a lot of capabilities, but again, I'm talking like maybe 6 years ago when I first bought that first pedal. The Boss one, there was definitely a sound quality issue. Like when you hit the loop, what you would hear back would be of a lower fidelity. They have since changed those issues, right? I think the 505 sounds really good. So the Infinity still sounds great, but again, I think the way that they have this set up is absolutely perfect for songwriters that are kind of like performing live and maybe want to add like an extra element component. You can do like 99 different presets. I think it has over like 5 hours of loop time, so you can keep stuff loaded on here. But like I said, it's really cool. 2 inputs. There's also auxiliary outputs. There's 2, so you can use that, I guess, as a left and right, or you can split them where you output loop 2 to one output, loop 1 to another one. Personally, I would have rather had maybe like another auxiliary input, so I could maybe plug like a microphone or something into that. But you can get around that by using a mixer or something like that. I guess that would be my only criticism. But I just absolutely love the intuitive way that the buttons are laid out so you can actually play songs in series instead of having to kind of menu dive and use like an external foot switch. All right. There's a bunch of other features too. You can kind of like fade things out. You can customize it a lot of ways where you can have loops fade out over time. There's like another thing that you can use to like change the sample rate. Stuff like that are just kind of like cool little bell and whistles and stuff like that. I really wouldn't see myself using it for that, but definitely for running through song parts that have chord changes. Because aren't chord changes good in songs? It's funny, like, I don't know, I definitely don't want to hate on modern music, but a lot of it is just like a 3 or 4 chord loop. I personally like it when there's some kind of change up. It doesn't even have to be a key change, just different chords in the same key to have like an A part and a B part musically. And I think the Pigtronix Infinity 3 is definitely the looper pedal to do that if you guys are interested. And fidelity wise, like I said, sounds great. So thank you again to Sweetwater and Pigtronix for sending this over, sponsoring the video. Love those guys. I've also done another Pigtronix video with their Moonpool pedal where we just wrote a song about it that really has become one of the staples on our set list, so check that out too. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.